Hi there. Welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year to you all. I know it's the 26th of January, but I don't think it's too late to say that. And we're kicking off the new year with something new on the channel. Don't worry, Stafford Zoo isn't going anywhere. This is just purely going to be running alongside Stafford Zoo. But what's going to be happening here? Well, this is Elkhorn Valley Reserve. This is a franchise zoo that I started back in 2019 and it ran into 2020. And I had the idea to do a bit of a revamp, sort of take my skills that I've learned over the last 3 years, implement that into this franchise zoo. So that means I'm working within the constraints of the animal needs and stuff like that. So I thought I'd bring you all along for the ride while I do that. So welcome along to Planet Renovate. So here we are at the entrance of Elkhorn Valley Reserve. Now, it's worth noting for the purposes of this sort of mini tour, I'm going to really do like a really turbo tour of the start of this, just because I don't want to spend too much time getting you too acquainted with pretty much what is not going to be here in later episodes. So it's not really much point, but I'll give you a show around just so you can sort of see what I'm working with and what may be staying, what might not be staying. But yeah, the start of this is going to be like a turbo tour. I'm going to have timestamps as well for this video, so if you don't want to see what I'm working with, then feel free to skip ahead. We are actually going to be doing some renovating as part of this episode, and part of that renovating is going to be this. It's going to be the entrance. I think looking back at the time, it was pretty cool when I did this, but I think I've sort of learned from my entrance design. I don't want everyone bottlenecking into this one point. And then as you can see, because it's a franchise, we are basically tethered to the edge of the map. And I want to make a bit of gap between the edge of the map and where the entrance will actually sit. But as we head on in, we're going to be greeted by our first animal, and that is going to be the moose, Jackson the moose. So I started building this in 2019, 2020, but I obviously came back at a later date when the North American Animal Pack came out in October of 2021, and here we are, we've got Jackson the moose. It's such a small habitat for him, so he's probably going to be completely relocated. This habitat is probably going to be completely ripped out, and Jackson will get a brand new home that's going to be a lot more befitting of his grandeur of himself. So yeah, amazing. Oh, we're on 3 speed. There we go. As we head on a bit round further to this side, we have got this lodge on the right here. This is a workshop item. I use this, I downloaded this absolutely ages ago. It's more of a shell that I've used it for to sort of spam all these buildings in. Again, this was done in franchise, so you'll have to have these buildings, whereas I can probably get away with it in sandbox just by turning off the needs of the animals. So all good. We've got this sort of like congregational area, if that's what we want to call it, with like water and food here as well, some toilets as well. Again, you can see that this is very early work of blob. I was pretty much starting to dabble in the foliage by the looks of it. I have been using quite a few creosote bushes, and then we've got some dring grass and stuff like that. Like, I am starting to experiment with the foliage a bit more. This is pretty much my favorite habitat in the whole franchise as well, and I think this will remain pretty much the same for the most part. I'm just gonna like bring it up to 2025 standards, as it were, and that is the timber wolves. I really like how this turned out, because we've got this really nice sort of seating area for guests to sit on. We've got a little glass bit here with the den that they sleep in, and then you've obviously got like the really cool actual area that they're located in. But I do want to do some cool terrain elevations as well. But yeah, I think this is my favorite habitat out of the whole lot, so this one will pretty much be staying the same. I probably will do some work to this, because at the moment this is just it's actually not suspended. I did give it some thought. It's being propped up by some very spindly pieces of wood, but never mind that. We're going to head on past the congregational area, and then we're going to be greeted by the bison and prairie dogs. Yep, prairie dogs there, and then we've got the bison somewhere in here. I don't know where they are. Oh, here. I don't know how I missed that. These guys are going to be completely relocated. I already know what I'm going to be doing with these, so fret not. I've got a plan, and we've actually got some babies in here. There is a male in here who's also named. His name was Abraham, and I literally, oh, here he is. Yeah, this is definitely him. So I called him Abraham because obviously Abraham Lincoln with the beard. So Yeah, that's why we picked the name for this. A lot of the animals are pretty much going to be... Oh, I didn't know they had little animations. Oh, well, that was adorable. But I'm talking about everything that's going to be changing, but I also am going to be keeping a lot of things the same. Like I said, this is pretty much going to be one of them. This is the lake. I think I did have a name for this lake, but I can't remember what the name for it was. We've got like a beaver dam back there. We've got some really hideous rock work. Like, this is obviously something that I hadn't sort of dabbled in at the time. It's just the same rock span placed and random rotated, basically. But yeah, the lake is something I really like, but I'm going to be doing something else here instead. I've got a really cool plan for who I want to be putting down here. I think a lot of animals are going to be swapping places, but at the same time, a lot of animals are going to be staying where they are, just having a bit of a revamp. And then the last animal for this sort of side of the reserve, and that is the puma. Again, I was starting to dabble with the terrain elevation back there, and I feel like it really shows, because obviously, like, back here you've got this little hut and it slowly slants down toward the lake. And yeah, I think this is probably my second favorite habitat. Very unrealistic, of course, because they're being held in with this wooden fence, but I think at the time I was clipping the long elephant grass underneath the ground upside down to stop them from escaping. So even back then I was trying to find ways to cheese the game. And yeah, but we're gonna hopefully try and make something a little bit better this time round. We're gonna whiz on around here now. We've got some like utility, of course, a lot of decor, but we're gonna start heading up the hill now as well. We go left. No, not here. God, it's been such a long time since I've been in this zoo that I've forgotten a lot of things. A lot of shops dotted all over the place, but I kind of want to keep it more sort of larger, but more few and far between guest areas to gather at. On the right here, we have got a sea lion habitat. We'll go and have a look at that in closer detail in a moment, but the likelihood is that is also going to be changing. I'm probably going to be getting rid of all of this water and turn it into a prairie, and that will be where the bison and pronghorn antelope will go in. There are no pronghorn antelope in here at the moment, but it's just something that I can put in with the bison. And then we've got Coppertail Mine. I actually remember the name of this. This was Coppertail Mine, and this is home of Lavender the bear, grizzly bear, of course. Again, she's being kept in by a very shallow wooden fence, but I obviously was placing these logs along the edge here to stop her from being able to get to the edge here. But yeah, I really like this. This, again, is probably something that will probably stay the same for the most part. But one thing I do want to address is obviously this hill. This hill is very, very steep. I wouldn't want to be anyone walking up and down this because it would be killer on the ankle. So probably going to be doing some reworking on the pathing so that it is a bit more friendly to actually go up and down. Up here we haven't actually got anything. This was planned to be like a more colder area, so this is where the polar bear, Arctic wolf was going to go, reindeer, that sort of thing, because obviously the higher up you go it'll be a bit colder. But I think we could potentially just close this area off and then utilize more of the flatter ground that we've got down here that we're going to have as a dead space. We'll head on down and go back to the sea lions. The sea lions are something I do want to get back in because I think they're such a cool model, honestly. I really like them. This reserve as well is purely for North American animals as well. So I think what we're going to be doing is not having a North American section in Stafford. And instead, we're just going to be focusing all of our attention on the North American animals into here. That's not to say that we're not going to have North American animals at all in Stafford. Of course we will. But I think for the most part, because we're not going to have a North American area, it means that I can then sort of spill my North American creativity into this project instead. Oh, look at them. Amazing. I think we've got, is that little baby? Yep, a little baby California sea lion there. We've got this lad here. I don't think I named any of these at all. But yeah, California sea lions, so they're going to be in the zoo as well. But again, they're probably going to be relocating entirely. The water will get ripped out. This will get turned into a prairie, and we'll probably have some like more pathing. This means that this will go, again, extremely ugly waterfall, but early work of Blob at the end of the day. Now, I'm going to be taking a jump cut here, and that is to go back to the entrance, and that's because there is something else that I want to show you, but again, it's not going to be standing. I'm going to be completely retconning it, but it's more for the sake of, hey, this is what I did, and yeah, you can see where I've potentially come from and where I've come to in terms of my building skill. Okay, so here we are. We are just to the right of the entrance here, and we've got what was going to be a reptile house. I did actually put some reptiles on in here, but now that I think about it, it doesn't really make sense. Like, I was very much of the idea back then that this was going to be a North American zoo, and for some reason decided that I was going to put a reptile house in the middle of it, which didn't really make a lot of sense. Maybe I will still put some reptiles in here because, well, actually I won't, because when I think about it, we've only really got the North American, or like the American alligator, sorry, as like a North American reptile, but I've taken the roof off just to help brighten it up a little bit because it was very dark, and of course it started raining as we were doing this. Not about the sunshine, but yeah, we had all sorts in here. We had the Komodo dragon on this side, and then this side was for the monitor lizard, not the Asian water monitor. That wasn't in the game at the time. We've got some like bits in here as well. Got like the skink. Got the iguana here. What was in here? This was the Gila monster. God knows where that is. That could be anywhere. Oh, back there. Oh, there's loads of them. What the hell? There's 3 of them here. And then we've got a boa constrictor. There. Wow. That was very easy to find then. But yeah, as we head on round a bit further, this ends up going round to the dwarf caiman. We did have a white dwarf caiman. We've actually got some really exciting animals in our trade center in terms of franchise animals, and hopefully I can get to utilize them. It'd be really nice to see some of them make an appearance. This was for the gharial. It's way too small. There's no way that I would ever consider using this ever again, but the walls and stuff at the back, you can see that this is early stuff, obviously. And then this is for the saltwater crocodile, and then on this side here we've got the American alligator originally. But again, this is all going to be changing. This building is going to be ceased to exist. It's not fit for purpose, and we'll be obviously utilizing the space for a lot of the cooler animals that we haven't actually put in here for North America, and that being things like the polar bear and stuff like that. So really want to get them in. They were going to go up the top of the mountain. They're not anymore. So yeah, they're going to be going down here somewhere. But like I said, we are going to be doing some renovating in this episode. So I'm actually going to be jumping ahead to me starting that process. So here we are. I've pretty much done exactly what I said I was going to do. I've closed the zoo for the time being, and I've ripped out the entrance. I've ripped out this area here. I think I'm going to have a car park in some capacity, like in this area here potentially. It's not going to be like a huge car park, but it'll be big enough that it takes up a little bit of space where the reptile house used to be. And then I'm going to be like doing a bit of terrain elevation, and we're going to have the entrance across here. I've taken Jackson's habitat out as well because, like I say, I just needed that little bit of space, and his habitat was kind of surplus to requirement in that regard. Again, I don't want to be touching too much. I might get rid of this lodge as well because I think it's actually quite large when I think about it. When I go to here, like, it is quite a large building, so I think this is going to get ripped out eventually. But again, I'm just like sort of thinking out loud, theory crafting. I'm still in creative or sandbox at the moment, just so I can sort of plan a little bit ahead, because if I'm going to be in franchise, I don't want to be like wasting money. Well, actually, I'm not going to be wasting money now I think about it. I'm going to be just deleting stuff and then putting it back in, so the money I'll get back from what I'm deleting. So I'm not actually going to be wasting any money, but I'm just having a little bit of a play around, thinking about what I can do before I jump into the franchise. But yeah, I think this is what I'm going to be doing. Ripping out Jackson's habitat, ripping out the entrance, restarting the pathing back here. I think I'm going to cover this up, and I'll add a bus into the car park, and that'll be how guests come in. They'll start here, and then they'll traverse their way around. I really want to keep this, even though it's quite early foliage rock work from myself, I actually think it holds up quite well in today's standards compared to what I can do. So I might give it a little bit of a brush up with a few more rocks and stuff like that, and some different foliage that we've had added in the time between me ditching this project and picking it back up again. But we'll see where we go. But yeah, I'm gonna make a little bit of a start on the entrance, and I'm gonna be doing like jump cuts, so I'm not gonna be showing you me actually building the stuff. It's gonna be like jump cuts of me sort of progressing through, but this is gonna be me giving my thought process more than anything else. Progress, here we are. I've done a little bit of work here with regards to the pathing. So, like I say, I really wanted it to be more of an open area. I still feel like this could be a bit of a bottleneck, but this is a lot more nicer than what we had before. I feel like I'm going to be adding like an extension to the building here where you'll go in and get your tickets and stuff like that. And then this is just going to be like a wing that extends off of the main building. But yeah, I like this sort of open plaza design. You can see the slight terrain elevation, so it does start lower down here and then it slowly works its way up. And as you come in here, like I say, I'm probably going to delete this building, and I'm going to be adding like a smaller animal right in as you come in. We're going to have an entrance as well, like an entrance plaza per se. So you'll come through here and there'll be like a slightly open space that's going to separate into the two areas. It's probably going to be like bean shaped, so it'll be like a rounded area that you can go off in this direction and view whatever we're going to have over here, and then it's going to do the same in this direction. You can go off and look at the prairie that we're going to be playing in as well. Something I was having a little bit of a look at just now is that if I go to my blueprints, something I did originally want to make for this zoo, but I never actually managed to get it in, was, if I can find it, it was like an elk stone masonry type thing. Elk. No. No. I will find it. If it takes me all video, even if this video has to be an hour long. Here it is. So this is something I made a while back, and I was like, I really wanted to put it in here. You can see it's got Elkhorn written on the side, so it was intended to be for this, but I think the reason I didn't end up using it was A, it was too big, and B, I'm just going to place it for a second here. The bottom here is just too clumped up, so you can't actually... The only thing that really tells you that this is an elk is the very distinctive rack on its head, but we've obviously got paler stones here on the bottom insides of where the ears would be, and then, yeah, down here it sort of just becomes a bit of a mess. So I want to redo this, I want to rework it and make it a bit more distinctive so you can actually tell that this is an elk. So that's probably something I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to show you that process, but I'm just going to like have a little bit of a play with it and see where we're at. And then maybe you can let me know where you think it would be best suited in the sanctuary, because it's a bit too hilly, a bit too rocky to have, I think, as something on the ground, because obviously someone would trip over this and you're not really going to be able to see it from this angle. So I kind of either want it on the side of a building, maybe, but that building would have to be huge to be able to fit this. Or I could tilt it slightly, angle it slightly, and have it as like part of a garden as you walk in. So we have it like this. I get rid of the rocks around the side, and then we maybe put some plants or something like that. Or we could do something similar to we could have it as like a Hollywood type sign and just have it on the side of a cliff somewhere and make it look like someone's put it into the rock work. But yeah, I'm gonna have a little bit of a play, see if I can figure out the shape of the body and the head to make it a bit more distinctive, and then I'll be back with you with that in a moment. Okay, right, I'm back. I think I've actually managed to do it. So I had a reference image on my second monitor. I've made it so that this is obviously at the front that comes down. I've made the head a bit more distinctive, so, and then as the back comes down here, you've got this like slight lump where the shoulder would be. When you actually watch them walking and you watch videos of them, they always tend to have their heads quite low. They only really raise their head to either bugle or, well, look around. But a lot of the time when they're actually walking, their head is lower than their shoulders, so their shoulders have this like huge hump as they walk along. But this looks way better. I think you can actually tell now that it's a bit more distinctive. It's not as blocky. It took me a long time to do this, but I'm happy with the results. And then what I've done is I've just used art shape pieces just behind it, just to help highlight the rocks with the background of this as well. Again, this is just a placeholder background in terms of what I'm going to use for sort of just showcasing it. But if you think of somewhere that I can put this, then let me know. I'd be happy to have a go at trying to implement that. But again, we're going to turn our attention over to the entrance, because this is the that's the whole reason why we're here at the end of the day. Okay, done a bit more, probably a bit too much at the end of the day, but I think we've made some really good progress. I've just done a little live stream and some people have helped me out with some things, but I've also then carried on to the next day and we've done a few bits here. So we've got some turnstiles here at the entrance now. So, and then we've even had this nice little detail where someone said we could use the hygiene things as like scanners for tickets and stuff like that. So I've even added like a light bulb in here with the red lights to look like, normally when you have like a scanner for a QR code or barcode or something like that, usually you'll have like a red light that will like be flashing at a high frequency to pick up the code. So that's what we've done here. We've got 4 of them. I think the way I'm going to intend this is that this is going to be your way in. We've obviously got like a way here for accessibility at the end of the day, and then I think what we're going to do is that if you want to come out, you'll have to go through a gift shop, and then this is how you'll exit the zoo. So I think that's what we're going to do, but I'll be saving the gift shop for a different episode. We'll just be purely sticking to the quote unquote entrance, and then this will be like a new building with a gift shop, and then we'll have a guest services section attached to it as well. Just give the entrance its final look. As we go on back, we've now got this diamond shaped planter in the middle here. I guess this is kind of like a secret nod to The Sims at the end of the day, because obviously the plumb bobs are, well, they're obviously 4-dimensional shape, but at the end of the day they're still a diamond shape. So we've got some cool, I've really purposed these planters. Nausicaa was very kindly just sort of queried, are they purely for decorative purposes, or are they actually going to serve a purpose? And I thought, you know what, let's do both. You know, we've got one here that serves as decorative, this one here that serves as decorative, and then this one here we can use as like a plinth. This one's got that really cool log bear statue on, and then this one over here we've got the really cool wolf ones that you can actually recolor, which is a really nice thing. You can change both gradients, the top and the bottom color. I think this might be my slightly favorite statue in the game, but there is obviously the pronghorn one, but we've used that somewhere else. Big shout out to CaptainCallums as well. I had a golf cart blueprint downloaded, but when I placed it, it looked absolutely terrible. And then I saw that he had these ones available, and I was like, do you know what? If the park's getting an upgrade, so are my blueprints. So I've unsubbed to that other golf cart, and I'm using his ones now. Big shout out. I'll add a link to that in the description below. And then just as like an extension to the entrance, I was just going to leave this open, but I thought to myself, do you know what? Let's go the whole hog with this. So we've actually got now this dual entranceway with the pronghorn statue at the front. But what I've done is I've now got this gate. So this gate, if obviously if the zoo was closed, would come all the way along and close like that. We've even got the rail as well, so you can see where the wheels would run along the rails, and then we've got the wheels on the bottom to help them close the gate up. Obviously there's a little bit of adjusting that needs doing with regards to where the rocks are placed, but it's perfectly fitted so that if the zoo was closed for whatever reason, obviously I assume that this place would be closed at things like Christmas and that sort of thing. So obviously when this place is closed at Christmas, they would roll the gate across, but obviously for pretty much most of the year, this gate is going to be remaining open like so. But yeah, and I've kept this as well. This was in the original tour. If you go back and have a look, this was just on the right as you go in. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to keep this. I actually really liked the use of the what these hydrate, that plant there. I really like them, so I don't really use them all that often. I actually think this is a really nice use for them. So yeah, why not? We're going to keep this. It's nice and in keeping. It uses the logs that we've obviously used for the actual entrance building as well. So yeah, really nice. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to jump I think what I'm going to do now is just finish up this right hand section here, and then I think I'm going to call the entrance quote unquote done for the day, but we'll obviously be carrying on with the rear side of it in the next episode. Or if there's a section that you would rather me focus on, then let me know. But I think it's going to be a lot easier if I transition flowingly. So entrance into this, into this, into this, rather than trying to Frankenstein pieces together with bits in the middle still being the old version. So it's fine. We'll leave it as it is for now. But the car park I'm not going to do in this episode either as well. I don't think anyone wants to be seeing that. But I just wanted to get the actual entrance bit focused on, and I think starting from here all the way back to this building is going to be a really nice start. But yeah, it's giving you a nice idea, I think, of the before and after. But yeah, I'll do this bit on the right, foliage it up, probably going to alter this water a little bit, and then I'll be back with you after that. Okay, I think I'm pretty much done here. Nothing too fancy, just bog standard, what I've been doing from the get-go, pretty much. I haven't really talked much about my foliage palette, pretty much, but it's going to be creosote bushes, a lot of goldenrods, string grass. These, I don't know what these are called, like fairy. I think these are like the fairy. Some over here, I think. Yeah, fairy fan flowers. A lot of nettles. I was actually talking about some people with this the other day, and I tend to use nettles in quite small patches, but the reality is that whenever you see nettles, because they're really invasive, they're actually in very large patches. So where I have been putting nettles, I have been doing them quite extensively and covering some like larger areas. Like back here, we've got this huge nettle patch that basically just spans this like whole area. So trying to be a little bit more realistic when it comes to like the nettles. I know it's a bit of a strange thing to be realistic about, but it just seems a bit strange when you've just got like one lonesome nettle on its own. But yeah, they go very, very quick. So yeah, I think that's going to be it. I hope you have enjoyed this first episode of the renovation. Obviously there'll be more coming back soon, as will Stafford, fret not. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if this has inspired you to maybe go back and do some fixer-upping of your own older zoos and whatnot. And let me know what theme, biome, etc. you are working on if you are doing so. But thank you for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Peace out. Bye-bye.